Okay, so my question for you is, do you trust Jeff Lebby and Brent Venables to make the right decision? And we're going to talk about exactly what I mean around that, because I have seen some conversations come up around the five-star quarterback Jackson Arnold that was committed in the 2023 class, has been on campus, has got to play in a couple games. You've seen him in some packages, but you haven't seen him as of late. And there's been a lot of conversation about maybe redshirting him, where at the beginning of the year, that wasn't really going to be on the table for Venables and Lebby. However, things change, and that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, guys, I want to hear from y'all. So let me know, do you trust this coaching staff to make the right decision? Additionally, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button, guys. 70% of you that watch my YouTube, you guys aren't subscribed. So make sure you subscribe. All right. Jackson Arnold, right? Let's rewind it. Let's give you a little backstory here. Originally from Georgia, played at Denton Geyer High School in Denton, Texas. The number 8th overall player in the 247 composite rankings, the number 4th quarterback in the 2023 class. Understanding the 2023 class was extremely quarterback heavy. One thing you loved about Jackson Arnold, though, coming out of high school into this system for Oklahoma, was not only the frame and the build that he had, right? Being an athlete, a guy that not only was able to use his arm to sling the ball down the field, but was able to utilize his feet as well. He was an extreme RPO threat. And hey, in Lebby's offense, he's going to do great. When you look at his career, 807 attempts, 542 completions, 7,537 total yards, 67 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions in his entire high school career, 387 rushing attempts for 1,807 rushing yards, 38 rushing touchdowns. So Jackson Arnold has just been an absolute menace in high school, and you saw exactly why he rose from a 3-star to a 5-star. Now, the question for a lot of Oklahoma fans has been, as we've kind of gotten closer to the end of the season, is one, why haven't we seen Jackson Arnold more than the 4 games that he's been featured in, right? 2, why don't we give him more snaps to try to prepare him for the SEC? And this is what I want to talk about. And this is why I asked you at the beginning, do you trust this coaching staff to make the right decision? Because ultimately, they're at these practices every single day. They know what's best, not only for the team, but for this player and their development and growth. So you're going in to play BYU and TCU. Likelihoods, unless you see a major injury to Dillon Gabriel, you're probably not seeing Jackson Arnold in those games. Now, if Oklahoma gets to the Big 12 championship, same thing. But a bowl game, completely different story. Jackson Arnold, you might see him there maybe the last quarter, maybe the last half, whatever that looks like, because in the bowl game, redshirt eligibility doesn't take it away. So he could play in that game, not lose his redshirt eligibility. But I've seen the question pop up, why would the staff want to redshirt Jackson Arnold? Well, let me tell you why. Because let's say Jackson Arnold goes down with an injury next year or his junior year, heaven forbid. Well, what's going to happen is if they don't utilize the red shirt this year, it's going to be easier to give him a medical red shirt later down the road. It's more of like an insurance policy. And when you see how good Jackson Arnold is, you understand why this staff is wanting to do this. In the 4 games that he's appeared in, not only has he been a threat in kind of that belldozer package that we've done before, he's had 12 carries for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. But Jackson Arnold has also 13 completions on 15 attempts for 169 yards and 86% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 0 sacks. Now, I get it. The sample size is not huge. But let's look at some of the other quarterbacks that were even ranked above him in that 2023 class, like Arch Manning, who hasn't seen the field for Texas. And now with the news that Quinn Ewers is coming back, do they even have the faith that Arch Manning is their guy? I look at UCLA, Dante Moore. He's gotten a chance to play as a true freshman. And let me tell you, this dude is going to be an absolute baller for UCLA, assuming he stays at UCLA. Now, he can go be a baller at Oregon, but 91 completions, 175 attempts, 1,344 yards, 52% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's been sacked 19 times. So Dante Moore, right, he needs to learn how to cut the turnovers down, learn how to get the ball out quicker so he's not taking those sacks. But the completion percentage and things like that will improve as Dante Moore goes throughout his career. And we talked about it. Dante Moore was probably one of the most ready quarterbacks to play at the Power 5 level out of all of them in this class, right? Just more experience, he's a little bit older. Then I go to USC. And I look at Malachi Nelson, a quarterback, a 5-star quarterback that was previously committed to Oklahoma, decommitted, followed Lincoln Riley out to USC. What have you heard there? Not good things. It hasn't sounded like Malachi Nelson is going to live up to the hype, but also be able to follow Caleb Williams in his shadow. Then I look at Tennessee because Nico, and I really hope I say this right, Iomalave, he got a chance to play. He looked pretty good. 7 of 14, 97 yards, 50% completion percentage, 1 touchdown. He did take a sack. Nico, he has probably the highest potential in that 2023 class. But still, we looked at Jack. Might be a better prospect than Nico. But then I look at Arizona State. You might say, why Arizona State? Remember the name Jaden Rashada? Jaden Rashada's name was being thrown out in this 2023 class as a potential guy to be able to come in before we got Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold ended up committing before Jaden Rashada. The rest is history. Jaden Rashada, man, he's proven himself at Arizona State when he's got the chance. 34 of 60, 56% completion percentage, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So regardless, you look at the layout of quarterbacks in 2023 and go, they're all going to be pretty good. Maybe outside of Arch Manning at Texas and USC's Malachi Nelson. We'll need to see more out of those guys because we just haven't got to see them in the season. Now, I look at Jackson Arnold, and you, again, get back to the question. Why redshirt him? Why would you save it? Well, here's the deal. You look at it for Jackson Arnold, and potentially might be a first rounder, maybe a top 10 pick, a guy that wins a Heisman. He has the aspirations to get Oklahoma to a national championship. You want to protect your quote unquote, as they call it in the NFL, franchise quarterback as much as you possibly can. And I really believe that the longer you get Jackson Arnold on campus, the better it's going to be for your program. I mean, are the snaps that he would take against BYU and TCU really that great? Are they really going to prepare him to go into Jordan-Hare Stadium and beat Auburn? Are they really going to prepare him to walk into Death Valley and beat LSU in a night game? No. So I look at it and I say, if Brent Venables and Jeff Lebby think it's best to save the red shirt and not use it on Arnold, then I trust him. Because ultimately, Jackson Arnold is the quarterback of the future for the University of Oklahoma. He's going to be your foundation piece to get other quarterbacks into this program. And he's going to be your foundation piece to get wide receivers and running backs here. You want to prove that Lincoln Riley's words of you're not going to be able to recruit elite quarterbacks to Oklahoma. You want to be able to prove that wrong. So, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. If you haven't already, jump down in the comments below, join the discussion. And if you haven't, hit that like and hit that subscribe button.